We just had this kind of slow drift right up to the VWAP here, which is kind of interesting because it was entertaining lower most of the morning. But
imagine that right before NFP, we go to balance.
We go to value. That makes some sense.
Yes, it does.
And it's obviously it's really quiet too. We only have this is among the lowest volume I've seen recently. 80,000 contracts this time of the day. Yeah, that's a really low number. I'm not even getting into 3 digits. So
yeah, that's crazy low.
Clearly everybody is on the sidelines waiting for something to happen. So I'm sure something is about to happen.
I'm sure something is too. How bizarre.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk more about my thoughts on the NFP number when we get closer to the actual announcement, but I think this could be an interesting one. We remain in that range-bound inflection point that we've been trading around forever. And if you go back a few weeks, there's another consolidation right here at 4150. So it's a very interesting spot. Let's see. We have a Fed talking head starting at 5 o'clock also. So Barkin is speaking.
Barkin?
Yep. And then we get, it's amazing, these Fed people, names like Yellen and Barkin. I mean, seriously?
I didn't know about Barkin. That's too funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Barkin is Barkin. See, the Barkin speech, right?
That's too hilarious.
Yep.
Couldn't have made this stuff up.
Yeah, I think, when you apply to be a Fed governor, you either have to change your name or, already have a good one. Otherwise, you get rejected immediately.
Yep.
Alrighty then. It is really quiet, eerily quiet this morning.
It's too quiet.
It's quieter than most NFP mornings are. This volume, like I said, is among the lowest volume I think I've seen this summer so far at this point in the morning.
Maybe everyone forgot.
Considering we have a number coming that's both surprising and not surprising. Be interesting to see how aggressively it trades after the number. If you think about it, again, I'll do this in more detail closer to the bottom of the hour. But if you think about this, what could the number do that would significantly stir up the pot? Well, if it was really positive, that could create some interesting twists. But would the market rally on that, or would the market, never try to predict the reactions because they almost always are different than you expect. And, good news is bad news is good news.
Yep.
Buy the rumor, sell the news. There's so many ways this could play out. What I was thinking though is what could be the just rock and roll result? Like if NFP was what would cause the biggest reaction? And my gut is the biggest reaction is likely to be caused by a really bad number.
It would have to be what was really unexpected, wouldn't it? I mean,
yeah. And, the trouble with these, from an economics point of view, this stuff is all bullshit anyway. So, it's all backwards looking and it's all smoothed out and there's a million things excluded from it. It's nonsense.
Yep. It's all tweaked.
Yeah. But having said all that, if it's really pathetic, which I'm having trouble visualizing what that would look like. But let's say, it's just the worst kind of number you could get. Payrolls, people getting laid off, no new jobs, wages going
100%
down.
Unemployment.
Yeah, whatever, Then, how would the market react to that? Is that some of that already priced in? Who knows? I think it's an interesting question to entertain. I certainly think we have more downside in the indexes, but not necessarily today. That's we've been doing this again. I'll repeat this at the bottom of the hour, but if you just look at this is the number one thing you need to look at right here. So if you go back to the beginning of June, we had a consolidation right here.
Look where we are.
And look what happened when bad news came out. Boom. it got crushed. So is
And
that
look at those attempts to buy too.
Oh, I know.
Those crazy, desperate attempts. Oh, buy the dip, oh crap.
Yeah. Yeah. All this volume here, and then it just falls out, and then the next session volume, and it falls out. Yeah. And so, I think that we're going to see more of that. And the question is just always when. What's the sequence going to be? I think the most tradable thing would be to have a moderately positive, whatever that means. Again, the market reacting positively so that we can rally up just a little bit more, which will be a really great place to sell again. That's my view. There's very few scenarios that I like getting long. I've been trading the overnights a lot, and I buy the low ends of the range and I fade them back in, but I'm so nervous when I'm doing that because, in this kind of a bear market, the bottom can just fall on any big chunk of news or lack of news or whatever, And, we've had a bunch of little short squeezes up, taking shorts out, and that's kind of how we got up here. So it's a very interesting spot. I would really like to get short higher up again. It just seems like every time we have an opportunity to do that, it's been working out nicely, ever since the buy the dip trading ended. So we'll see. Could be interesting. Yeah, I think lots of people want to sell higher. Also to what Robert wrote, lots of people talking the bottom is in, and that's a classic example of an ambush zone. We're right in exactly the spot that all the technical people are saying the bottom is in, and all the shorts are salivating to reshort it. So, it may not resolve right away. We could continue doing. Look at this last range bound. We're just starting this one here compared to how many days that went on. But the timing of it, the crash, occurred right on the same NFP kind of timing last month. So I wouldn't be shocked if this triggered another one, and whatever. So trade what happens, not what you expect to happen, is always the bottom line. Yeah, exactly what Robert just said. I totally agree with that. There has been no capitulation panic drop yet. We've had a couple of good, pushes down. I see absolutely nothing that convinces me that the lows are in here. One of my buddies, Jason, who's Jason Levitt, I've talked about him, levittbrothers.com a bunch of times. He's pretty good at timing the overall market. He's a swing trader. And I agree with him. There's a very interesting $10,000 NQ area, which is 300 points down from here. So, that's not actually that much more in NQ. So let me bring NQ's TPO view up here. Hang on a second. I've got to put its title bar back to do that. There we go. And basically exactly the same pattern, except this is notable over in the land of NQ, is we're above that consolidation just barely. Look at this. We're just barely. We have the exact same pattern, except the last 2 days we burped out of it. So again, this is setting up to be such a classic ambush area. Short, long, whatever. But it's definitely a good spot to play. But be careful being too aggressive. That's going to be the theme of fading this. We will do the usual NFP fade the extreme stuff. I'm going to do it with both limit and market orders this time. Which is the first attempt at that using swarming. So it should be fun. Anyway, that's the scoop. If you have any questions or comments, stick them in the chat. I'll do a quick summary again right before we get the number, which is in about, 15, 16, 17 minutes. So I won't have anything new to add to what I just said, but I'll repeat it for people that are actually showing up on time, not early. So anyway. Come on in, grab your tea, grab your coffee.
Oh, tea, yes, thank you. Yeah. I'm distracted by the cat in my lap.
I've had 3 coffees so far this morning, and I'm now on my green tea, and I do not have a doodle down here yet. The doodles are still sleeping upstairs, which is good. So gives me a little more freedom down here. the big boy puppy. Well, he's not a puppy anymore. He's over a year, but he acts like he's still a puppy. He will come visit me right around equities open. He's for some reason, he really likes that time. He hears my little opening bell thing and Thinkorswim go off, and he comes down and says, "Hi, Uncle Jeff. Take me out on a walk." All right. Interesting overnight price action. Again, particularly given this really low volume. We explored the range, we got to the extremes down here, and then just for some reason, right about a half an hour ago, somebody started buying all the indexes, and we came right back up to the value, roughly value. We're right on the VWAP, or right on a high volume node. But I was surprised to see that. I don't know if that was shorts covering or somebody knows the numbers and they're getting in front of it. Who knows? But I was surprised.
That kind of sounds like a pretty sensible trade if you think about it. If you know NFP's coming, you'd probably have a reasonable expectation that we're going to kind of recenter on value until then at some point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, well, we're out of whack. Put it back.
I traded that. I was watching that big absorption at 50.
Yeah, it was you.
It crept down, and what was interesting, it got to the top of the range around 47, which was what it broke, and it teased it a bit, but it was so extended that I was just buying, and I got out of the middle.
Yep. Yeah.
You're trading from the bathroom this morning, right?
Exactly.
I'm trying something hands-free. I'm seeing what it's like.
Sounds
it's okay.
Like you're trading from the bathroom.
Yeah, you're a little bit in the bathroom there, sounding it's a little bit echoey, but we can hear you clearly.
Yeah.
Right here, you can see what it was doing, that testing that SD2, SD3 range, and anytime it's doing that, and there's wicks down there, it's a good bet. The only reason I just couldn't get this one going in my brain, because I was thinking, you know what, if everybody starts selling here, the bottom could fall out really fast. So that was why I didn't take that trade. I was watching it and I was drinking coffee and I wasn't awake yet either. But I actually tested my new Lilu copying my newest account. So that's what I was actually doing. Now it's interesting. This entire scenario here is really, really interesting. So again, I'll kind of summarize what I'm thinking here in about 10 minutes. We'll do that. God, look at NQ even pushing up to its value. This is micro YM, which is pushing up to its ledge, interestingly. And the pattern is the same in all the indexes with that recent consolidation from a month ago that we're testing. But as I just showed you in NQ actually is above it now. ES is right on it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think YM is above it and RTY is right on it. Let me look at those real quickly. I hadn't looked at those guys about that. I will do that right now. Generally have not been paying as much attention to those guys for, looking for clues like this. I'm pretty much just focused on ES and NQ, but okay. So this is YM. YM has not yet challenged that one. So it's below it. ES is on it, NQ is above it, YM is below it, and I believe RTY is right on it. Yeah, it's right on the high of it and just pushing the edge. So, which makes sense because it's most similar to NQ in risk management. So, although physically it looks more like ES, which again, I say that in all my live sessions when I talk about RTY, and to this day I don't really understand why that is, but it is. So why be too worried about the why? It's the what. That is weird, Amy. I've had a couple of weird things going on with Zoom link emails too. Maybe clear out all of your garbage in Gmail, flush out Gmail, get rid of all the cookies and history and all that, and that sometimes fixes stuff like that. Maybe it got flagged as spam somewhere. I have one vendor that I deal with in a personal capacity, not business. And they just always end up in my spam. And I say, this isn't spam, and I move it back. And every time. And apparently it has to do with who they're hosting on. Apparently
it's their email server has been marked.
It's a spamming server. Yeah. And and so it just constantly does that. And so every now and then, once or twice a well, no, I haven't done it that recently, but every year or two, I used to. I haven't done this in a year though. Create a new, throwaway account for all the stuff like that. And in Gmail, that's always useful. I've had one I've been using now. Gosh, 24 years. That's my oldest one. WAN-Guru. My WAN-Guru account is that old because it's WAN-Guru 2001. I had a little consulting company that did wide area network consulting for firms that were trying to build high-speed wireless networks in distributed locations. That's where that comes from.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if at somewhere along the line, Zoom's servers have been tagged as spamming enough times by people who don't understand the way these things work and just click the spam button because they're tired of receiving it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that is true. Absolutely. Interesting thing I've learned about the Zulip, when I wasn't getting the notifications to my email about any of the streams I had notifications on. And how did I fix it? I went into the app on the website and I turned notifications off and I turned them back on without changing anything. And all of a sudden I'm getting notifications again.
Turn it off and back on again.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally, well, if it doesn't work, unplug it, plug it back in.
Exactly. The classic fix works for everything.
Mind-boggling. Yeah, I was stunned that one worked for that. All righty. People are drifting in. Welcome, TRG folks. Welcome, guests. We will get started in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to do a really quick introduction in about 4 minutes. And then we'll see what happens with NFP. I will be right back before that. Geez, look at this push up. This is really surprising. Now we're almost at 60. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, TRG folks. Welcome, guests. This is our what's becoming monthly, open to the public NFP live trading. The idea here is really simple. The reaction to the number creates price discovery. Often price discovery gets us to extremes at one end of the range or the other. And I have found it to be a very effective technique to fade those moves. And today we're going to be doing something new and a little bit different. We're going to be fading them, but we're going to use big blocks of micros instead of trying to do it with minis, what we're calling swarming, as a way to manage risk, because getting a good entry when you're, at extremes could be really tricky. If you've been to any of my other NFP or FOMC live sessions, I like to park limit orders out at the extremes, right as we're in price discovery or right before it, and see if we can catch an extreme fill. And again, get the odds of getting that exactly right are really hard. If you look at a 65 area, this is the top of the ledge up here at the moment. And, you could easily end up at 70 really quick here. So, that's a lot of risk to take with minis. But with groups of micros, you pay a little more commission, but you get a whole lot more flexibility. And TRG folks know we've been playing around with this for a bit now and getting really good results. A lot of folks are making good money doing this, so it seems to be effective. What can I say? One of the things, as I said, I've parked limit orders out at the extremes for years on this trade. I've done it, I lost count how many times. But being able to flexibly take market orders at the extremes, which is the idea with the swarming the micros, and building a position as it pushes one way or the other, is a very, very interesting idea. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. It's the first time I've tried it aggressively on an FOMC, so there's potential to screw it up, and you'll see good, bad, and the ugly, whatever happens. I am in 2 different accounts right now, and I am copying from one to the other, so we can double whatever we're doing. I have the rest of my accounts turned off. I'm not copying to them just because between Zoom and NFP and all that, I don't want to get caught with a system issue. So worst case is we'll screw up 2 accounts if we have a system issue. Anyway, Real quickly, if you were here earlier, I mentioned this. ES is right at an old consolidation range that it broke down from last NFP. So this could be a very interesting day. NQ is slightly above that same area. We looked at this just a minute ago right here. And YM and RTY. RTY is on it and YM is just below it. So should be an interesting little scenario to play. Looking at ES over here, again, I talk about fading extremes. The top of this range, I would not be interested in fading at all yet. It would have to go higher than that. And you can see why. We're just up at like 66 is the overnight high. And, looking at the TPO view over here, an extreme is at least 70 or 80. It's higher up. You can see just previous extremes from the last couple of sessions. And the same story is true in NQ. So, it's going to have to push up pretty far before I would fade it here. Definitely farther than the edge of this overnight range. In NQ, I might consider fading it up here because it got pretty extended to up about 85. And, there's a flathead there at the top of the overnight. That's all this volume right here. And then there's a little tiny, this little tiny extension. So that one's more interesting to fade at the highs. The ES would have to push higher. And then lows, gosh, are there any lows? I mentioned this at the beginning of the session here. Because of the kind of bear market scenario we're in, I'm very cautious about buying the low end of the range and fading back into the range. If we get a really extreme drop, I might consider it. If it can get... this is just kind of a reference I use here. The blue line is the VWAP for the session, and the red is standard deviation 4, standard deviation 3 is the yellow, and this orange one is 2, and then this is 1. So this is the normal range, and then these are various extremes. And we've kind of been riding along on the standard deviation 2 extreme, which is very common overnight. We can see we've been at both ends of it. And now we're smack dab in the middle. So it's going to have to get, 70, 75 going up and going down again. I might buy 40, but I'd be very concerned about buying the dip here because the potential to just blow through the lows is high. The one other thing I want to mention is I said this also right at the beginning of the session, but just to get everyone on the same page here, the volume is the lowest I've seen it in a long time pre an announcement like this. We're not even at 100,000 contracts. An hour before the open, that's ridiculously low, when we're going to do probably 2 million today. So, basically everyone is on the sidelines. Look at this little push up right now, right in front of the number. Interesting. So clearly the volume is on the sidelines and, when it comes in, we'll know it. So I may not do anything, I'm not promising that I'm going to fade this on either end, but if we see a good setup, we'll take it. Why not? That's the game. I've had this trade work out really, really well. And I've also been frustrated by it because I'll put a limit order on. And, again, if you've been to the session at all, I miss by a tick on my limit fills all the time. And it's just because I'm staking out areas. Like, if I put an order there at 70, that's likely to, just miss or get filled, on a quick push up there that immediately comes back down. So anyway, right now I'm not going to put any limit orders out. I kind of want to see the first reaction before I do that. If we get a really good extreme first reaction, I might just buy it at the market or sell it at the market, depending on which way it goes. So that's kind of the story. Again, real quickly, if you haven't seen my screens before, this TPO view is for Sierra chart on the far left. I'm running a fast equivolume view in Ninja, which is just how I see the very short-term range and the energy of it. And I'm just taking this down to 30 seconds now for the announcement. And then domes for the 4 indexes here, they're set to micros right now so that we can do the swarming. And, we'll trade up to 30 maybe. It'll be like a 3 lot in the minis if there's a really good opportunity. But I found you can make really good money with 5 or 10. And you pay a little more commissions, but the flexibility to have 5 entries instead of 1, or 10 entries instead of 1 is phenomenal. If you use that properly, keep your powder dry, you can really trade the extremes confidently. So we will have an upcoming class on this for those that are in the public and are interested in more. The end of the month, we have an announcement coming. And meanwhile, here's the price discovery. So let's watch what's going on. All right, we're down at that area that's the low 30s here. Buying this low is really scary, but it might not be a bad idea. Let's see how far down it can get pushed. All right, that's sort of an extreme. It's not a great one, but all right. So I pushed to 33. Again, I'm seriously considering nibbling long here, but as I said at the beginning, very hesitant to get long in this kind of bear market environment where it could easily just plow down. So also don't want to join this short. It's the snapback potential here is significant. So for the moment, I'm not going to take a trade. I'm very tempted to nibble long here, but let's see how low it can go first. Okay, it made 25. We've had no measurable bounce so far, which is why I'm not scalping long. There's got to be some effort to buy it. There isn't. It's getting sold really hard here. So, again, even being short is dangerous to a snapback bounce. So, if you're going to short, you probably have to wait for it to bounce and then reassert the down move. Boy, this is a lot of volume. This could be a long nibble here in the 20s. Still pushing down. The volume has gone up a bit, but not a lot. So, what the heck? I'm going to go ahead and nibble long here. So I just bought one at the market, and I might buy a couple more here. It's consolidating down here. Whether it continues lower or not, it may. As I said, this is a game of extremes. So let's take another one there, and we'll put some targets up just to get quick profits if it does. But again, I'm really hesitant to do what I'm doing, but it has potential for a snapback. So I'm not going to do it with a lot of size because this is pretty aggressive selling. So let's see what happens here. This is the fun of doing this with micros. And there we go. I just got another one. Let's see if we can scalp one of these pops up. It just popped up pretty quick there, but then the sellers reasserted themselves. Let's see here. Okay. So anyway, I've got 3 now from 26.75, and see if we can catch a pop into this low volume area that we swept through so hard. But again, I can't repeat this enough. I'm very hesitant to be buying this, which is why I'm just nibbling. Just, the potential for a massive down day is here, and it's pushing down pretty good, but I just really like all this volume. It's good potential snapback. You could certainly be short here. Just protect your profits if you are. And again, I'm just using a couple of the sale Lilus to fade this. So, if it blows up, it doesn't really matter. Take one more there. Actually, I'm going to take 2 more there. Trade back to 25 might work here. And a little buying there, but it's still getting sold. So yeah, don't mimic me, by the way, here. As I said, I don't like this idea. It just looks asymmetric here, so I'm playing it. But if you look at the structure, we're clearly not done yet. But it's running out of gas. I guess exhaustion is a good way to describe it at the moment. Is that how you describe it, Lee? I don't know if you're following along there, if you're still mic'd up.
We've got a price rejector at the low at the moment.
Yep. Yes, we do. And I'm long here. Let's go ahead and put another one on.
What's grabbing I'm looking at the TPO view, and okay. I think we could go much further down. I'm not that inclined to buy the bounce. What sticks out to me for a little long nibble is a 0 print on the session from a push down at 46, so that gets my eye for later. I got short, and I've got one left which I've protected, but I want to see it consolidate a bit more and go lower before I play long.
Yeah, I'm making money long here now. I've actually got 3 left from 20. We've got about $60 in the bank here on these first 2 micros. So I'm kind of nibbling my way out. Now I've got 2 left. Let's protect that and just put some take profit stops under it. We'll kill the targets up here, or the additional short. And let's see if we can if we can get into this low volume node up here. No, we're not. Okay, so anyway, we took profits. This is never anything wrong with doing that. Let's see if we can get this low stable so we can nibble long a little more. But at the moment, I'm not inclined to be aggressive at all. We can kind of watch that low there. This is a 30-minute footprint in Sierra. I'm going to nibble again here. I think it's going lower, but I just like the idea of scaling a bit here, as long as this is the end of the selling. And there we go. Okay, so I'm long 20 again here, I still like a quick run into this low volume node here. So, maybe what's the top of that? 40s. Yeah, I could slam a target in there somewhere and see if we can get going. But, obviously we're still pushing down. It's just not aggressively pushing down anymore. So it's fadeable here. You could also still be short, but like Lee's doing, I would be tapering out of a short here at this point. Put on another one long, and maybe we'll take first one off right there at that little bump. So we've got a little baby range to trade here with some high volume nodes on either side of it. So this actually might be tradable here. Let's see if we can get one good push down and fill another couple of these longs, then I'll be in good shape, because this is kind of forming a nice potential foundation for a bit. You can see we ran out of gas over there, so it's not so much that it's a great long, it's just stopped going down, and I like those for quick snaps back. So, oh, cool, this is perfect. Push one more aggressive push that can fill a couple more of these, I'll be happy. So, boy, it's getting absorbed there, isn't it? That's just not wanting to go down. It's probably going to puke down, but I'm going to put another one on. And again, just scalp it real quick on the first two of those. I'd really like to get longer, lower. Ooh, there we go. All right, that came right up to my target and filled one of my two up there. Look at that, right on that volume. And again, this is what the predictable part of price action is. Watch a couple of volume nodes and watch the action around it, and you'll get a pretty good idea. All right, I just took the second one off there. I'm going to protect these two, and we'll see if we can catch the runner up into this low volume. Looks like we are for the moment, but I'm not going to give this a lot of room. The target was 25. It's pushing back down, so we'll take profits quick. I hear typing quickly there. That must be Lee. Okay, I'm filled again, so got a quick $100 in the bank from those little guys. I'll take it. But I still think this could be a wicked snapback long, but I just don't want to be too aggressive. Right now it's getting bought at 20 and sold at 25, which is classic overnight behavior, the quarters. So the aggression has clearly subsided, but will we get enough energy to pop back up? That's the question. At the moment, it doesn't look like it. It looks like we're going to consolidate down here. And because of that, you know what? I'm going to cancel this one. And this one, I think we might have a push lower coming that we could buy aggressively down here, maybe 0-0. But at the moment, I want to see how this plays out. We made our money on the long. We got the bounce we wanted, but this is precarious when it's sitting on this high volume node right at the low. I mean, it looks like it's stable here, but it could puke down, and then that would be the place to get long. So let's see what happens. Anyway, questions, comments, by all means, stick them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer any. Again, I've got some money in the bank here right now, so I am not really looking to get too aggressive, but I'd love to see a puke down. You know what? Let's stake out a couple of spots for that. Maybe 15 and 10 and maybe 5.25 and maybe 1. Okay, so if we got a really big puke down, I'll get filled and maybe we'll catch another snapback. It's building some volume here. There's some liquidity stepping up below it, so it's a reasonable place to try that. I just don't want to sit.
From 2 days ago at about 12, by the way.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let's go back to, TPO view here is actually very interesting because you can kind of see what went on recently here. Look where we are. We've got this big giant tail and we're right on all the previous days volume. So very interesting spot. It kind of needs to hold this because if it breaks through here, certainly this area down here is going to be in play and we could see what we saw last month. So again, I'm not aggressively looking to buy this. I'm just buying little places where I think I can get a snapback. And so far that's working pretty nicely. But, this entire range is clearly in play. And that's price discovery. That's what it looks like. Just some housekeeping real quick. This session will go till right before the top of the hour in a couple of minutes, and then we will wrap this session. TRG members, my regular 6 a.m. session will start. You'll have to use the regular link for that. It will not continue in this room. Just to be clear, boy, look at it. It's hard to look at this drop, and then we went into ebb and flow. It's hard to find a clearer example of a good hardcore price discovery, slam down to the edge of the range, and then ebb and flow. I mean, which clearly means that there's buyers down here, at least for the moment. Now, when they run out of gas, that's why we could puke down. If we run out of buyers here and the sellers keep selling, then we'll puke down, and that's why I think an extension down here to SD 2 and 3 and maybe even 4 could be interesting. So that's kind of why I'm staking out some orders below us. But I'm not going to sit down there forever. It would have to push down like pretty aggressively and snap back for me to take those. If as we get closer to the session, I'm going to get less and less aggressive and cancel stuff like that, and then wait to trade the opening, which will be a whole nother ball game. But this is very interesting the way you don't see a better example of high momentum into ebb and flow. What we didn't get was a high volume reversal. So this drop is priced in, and everyone agreed on this drop. So it's not like we're going to go back into the range, really aggressively from here. There's just no evidence of that at all. So be careful. If you think about this, if there's people selling when they run out of buyers, boom, we're going to go down. And it looks like that's about to happen right now. And so if we get a nice puke down into this liquidity, I should be able to catch a couple of ticks the other way. But again, I'm not going to be too aggressive because it could go a lot lower. Volume is still really low, but we're finally getting some. We're at 150,000, which is closer to a low normal summer than the 80,000 we had a little while ago. And you can see we're reasonably well correlated. YM's the strongest. Everybody else is down, rounding errors right around 1%. So yeah, I'd be interested in filling those down there. Let's see if we can catch another long. Other than that, there's really nothing to do here. I wouldn't be sitting in a short. The puke down's a tradable short ledge break, but it could get snapped quickly if it even happens. It also could, the bottom could completely fall out. I'm not expecting that. This demand here just looks a little too stable, but you never know. So stretch that one out a little bit too. Okay, well, we got about 10, 15 more minutes before the top of the hour. So, pretty much whatever the numbers were is baked in now. By the way, I never look at the numbers themselves, but if you're interested, here's what they were. So, whatever. If you have any questions or comments, by all means, get them in the chat. I will address them. This is one of the quieter NFPs we've had. It really is. Look at it sitting, this tail is sitting right on the previous volume. And it's just either begging to bounce or begging to drop. It's not going to stay here. So this will be tradable most of the day, but we may not get a good trade here. Another good trade here, I should say. We've got a couple of good ones already. So let's see. I made $169.75 before commissions, and that was on 13 contracts. So subtract $15 or so from that. I'll take it. That's worth getting out of bed for. Buy dinner. I was hoping we'd get a much more radical, crazy moving NFP so we could really dump some size into it, but it just didn't happen. So anyway, I think this open is going to be really good, though. I think we're going to get a good two-directional open with some interesting opportunities. Look at the big delta right up there. This bottom looks okay. There's an old UB right below us, though, which is interesting. Down at 12-ish, 12 and a half. Right on a quarter number, shocker. So yeah, I think we might puke down from this, in which case, let's see if we get a fill on these guys. It's trying to puke down. It's just not getting there yet. There we go. Now it's coming. Nope. Close. No cigar. I think, gosh, it's begging to puke. Come on, do it already. Puke so we can buy you. I'll throw another one right there. It's trying. Come on, come on, come on, come on. 15.5. Okay, I got to fill at 15.75. I pushed it up a bit because I could see there was absorption there, but it looks like it wants to puke down. Here's NQ. Is trying to puke down some more. So let's see if we can get a couple more on down here. If we can get a more on down here. I'm going to buy another one at the market. And let's put a target up there at 20 on the first. Let's see, not on both of them. We'll put the other target up there at 25. Hopefully this one will fill. It traded there. It did not fill. I'm just trading on this liquidity right here. It's going to push down. We can put another target up. So, and again, we have plenty of room to be wrong here and build a nice position as long as, we do see evidence of buyers, which we're seeing. We cleaned up that old UB right there that I was just talking about a minute ago, and a little bit of buying there, but it's not real aggressive. So we're probably going to push lower. You can see all the indexes are pushing lower. So let's see if we can get another couple of contracts here a little bit lower. If not, we'll take profits on the way up, which I think is about to happen here on the first one anyway. So, and there's no special place there. I'm just kind of putting that one right on this big bump of volume. So, we take profits quickly, always take profits. Okay, what's going on in here? Let's reset that. We're getting sold again. I might get another puke. You can see the ledges are in play across the board here. So their NQ is pushing down a bit. If I wasn't teaching and zooming here, I'd be short NQ. That's a really good one to be playing NQ short, and I would be still playing long over here for a little scalp NES. But I like the way NQ is pushing down. You can see over here. Let's get that a little bit. You can see the next level down is quite a ways down. 13,000. We got another 150 points to get to that one. So I think that's going to be a good trade during the session to play that one. But right now, I'm liking fading this just because it's asymmetric, really. That's the primary reason. Okay, so we got the one at 10 there. So now we've got a little bit of a better position here as far as a few more contracts to scalp out of into this low volume node. I really think that's my play here is from wherever I am back into the, just below 20. I wouldn't expect it to push up above that, but it could. As I said, we saw a lot of selling in there. And I still think we're going to go lower. I'm just going to kind of nibble into this here and see if I can catch a little snapback short squeeze. Clearly, there's selling here that's using up the demand. We're selling right through the buyers down here, but that doesn't mean we can't catch some ticks the other direction. Like right now, we should be able to. I think one good sweep up will do it, which will catch all the people aggressively shorting offsides, and that should get us into this little low volume node here. Maybe we'll push this one down a little bit just to catch the bottom of that. We could pick up another 50 or $100 on that pop if we get it. If it goes a little lower, we'll add some more. All right. And I like this down to about whole number. If it goes much lower than that, I'll probably get out of the way. And, again, I still like it short over here in NQ. I'm just not going to do them both with Zoom running. It's too likely to cost me trouble. Okay, so we are pushing down. We're getting a nice extension here. It's a good short if you're so inclined. Again, I like the snapbacks better, but that doesn't mean you have to do what I'm doing. I just bought another one there, by the way. So now I've got 5 from 12. I probably need more, actually, because I'm too far off here. So I just don't want to get too aggressive. I want to keep some powder dry if we push lower again, but seeing a little bit of buying even in NQ. I'm going to reset the footprints completely here so we can just kind of compare all four. You can see there's a little bit of nibbling going on over here too. We didn't really depart nearly as aggressively from that range as we got to it. So again, I think this area remains in play right here, but we'll see. I might be a little bit too high up there, so I might need to get a little more aggressive down here. It's just kind of dribbling down here. And now we have unfinished business at the low. Putting some more orders a lot lower down here. See if we get a push down maybe to 95. I don't think we will, but a puke would be definitely viable down there. You can see there's some absorption here. Now they're lifting the ask, so we should get a pop here. Whether it gets up to me or not, we'll see. I think this low volume area should fill in or at least be tested, so we'll see. Okay, we're now from 1175. I've got 7. We're profitable. I'm going to start taking profits fast here because it likes this spot a lot. I'm right on the right spot, so as I usually tend to be. So I got to be good at managing risk and taking profits. So yeah, one good push up here should give us a nice exit profitably, and I'm still willing to add to this because of the aggression down there. I just don't think the bottom's going to fall out. I think we're going to go lower, but I don't think the bottom's going to fall out here. So, all right, let's see if we get 2 of these off pretty quick, and then we'll have a little bit left for runners. Okay, here comes the first one. There's the second one. It traded there. I did not fill. So I got 1 out profitably. Let's see if we can get another one out. Okay, now we've got 5 left. Got about $50 of profit here. So yeah, I'm going to take another one off just because it's kind of getting sold and bought. It's two-way action here, so always take profits is a good idea. I've got plenty of these to work with, so. And we'll see if we can buy a little bit more on the other end if it pushes down again. Perfect example of a nice little range to trade here. We're getting these little ebb and flow ranges. And, sure, it's breaking down from them, but it's predictably scalpable anyway. So, okay, I'm going to take another one off here, and that'll give us $40 on this one. Come on. Let's see, I have 5 left. Let's take 2 off there. And we'll see if we can get the other 2 off up into the low volume node I'm watching up there. It really likes 12.5, which is a quarter number, so that makes sense. It's a logical place for it to pause. So that's not a bad place to take profits. Whoa, there's a nice puke down. That's perfect. We need to see 1 more of those into this liquidity down here, and we can scale back up a little bit. So I'm just kind of scalping around this core position here is basically what I'm doing. And again, we will go a few more minutes on this public session, and then I will end this and restart Zoom and the live session. Probably just leave this trade on, I'm thinking, although we're going lower here again in NQ. I really want to be in that short over there, which I need to look at that a little more carefully where I want to enter that, but I do like that one short at the moment. Maybe at the open we'll play that one. Yeah, and Q's going to push again, I think. Let's see. Good little absorption, maybe. Reset those one more time. All right, anyway, any final questions or comments, stick them in the chat. We'll just kind of let this go. And as I said, I'll restart the other session. I'm about to get taken out profitably here on my next couple of contracts. So, and again, this high volume node should be revisited. And I think we're going to go into this low volume node, but we have yet to do so. So. The question is, are there enough buyers down here to form a temporary base, or are they going to get chewed up, and are we going to continue down? And that remains to be seen. There's a little bit of action on the buy side in NQ, and we're just not selling as aggressively. There's not buying, which is why we're not popping big, but the selling is just tapering off. So, it's tradable, but it's not a great example of the extreme, because it's just not returning to the range quickly yet. But remember, look, the VWAP is all the way up here, and we've got this massive high volume node right above us. So I'm pretty confident we're going to see that at some point. Whether it's right now or not remains to be seen. But all right, I don't see any other comments, so we'll give this just another minute or two. Hopefully it'll play out a little further so we can see how it ends up. Just kind of teasing me up, giving me a little bit of profit, not quite pushing down enough to get aggressive adding to it. So kind of just let this play out. There goes NQ again. We're still pushing ledges over here, so that should get us a fill on these guys. There's one. Okay, so now we've got 7 right around the same spot. Let's see if we can get another one. There's 8. Let's throw a few more targets up. Boy, this is really gonna, it looks like it really wants to go down for the session. So again, I'm gonna be much more aggressive in NQ and probably on the short side, but right now, I'm not doing that yet. All right, thank you, CK. I wish we could have had some more interesting action, but it was fun. And I'll get the other session going in just a minute. I'm really hoping this plays out, though, before I end this, because it looks like it's going to one way or another anyway. I really like an aggressive push down to buy into, but it's got to be pretty aggressive. So let's see if we can catch it. All right, well, it's not happening yet, so let's go ahead and get this session wrapped, and we'll do the other one. You guys can watch your own price feeds, and you'll see how this plays out, and I'll bring it back up in a couple of minutes in the regular room. So, guests, thank you for coming. Everybody, TRG, we'll get started in a minute, and we'll see what happens here. Have a good day. Don't try to make your whole week on Friday. I've had a great week, so I'm just kind of having fun here with these 2 Lilu accounts. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the pit in just a few minutes. Thanks, JBC. Thanks,
see you there.
Bye-bye.
Yep.